today equals Willie John McBride's record of 63 caps for an Irish forward. Well, 4 of the Italian back division are playing at Lansdowne Road for the very first time, but for Romanian-born centre Christian Stoica, there's an 8th successive cap against Ireland, a record for this fixture. Scott Palmer returns at number 8, and back too is the veteran lock Carlo Cecchinato to win his 83rd cap, which equals the Italian all-time record. And the referee is the 38-year-old Kelvin Deeker from Hawke's Bay in New Zealand. He's a qualified chartered accountant who's now a full-time professional referee, and he's one of 5 full-time professional refs in New Zealand. His first time being the man in the middle here at this, the oldest international ground in the world, Lansdowne Road. We'll not be seeing the Italians playing here too many more times, because in a couple of years Lansdowne Road will be demolished to make way for a brand new edifice. But here we go, little tap kick from the Italians. The referee's not very happy with that. I'm not quite sure what Roland de Marigny was doing, and that's an interesting thing. And I think, Philip, the Italians laid down the challenge. Ireland have gone for the scrum, and the Italians, I'm sure, will have a go at them.
Yeah, but just giving up possession. They obviously felt they got a better chance of getting ball here by putting in a marker down in the very first scrum of the game, and testimony, I guess, to the strengths of Andrea Lo Cicero and Leandro Castrovilliani's scrummaging strengths. They knew exactly what they were doing. Ultimately, they would just been giving the ball to Ireland. Ireland would have kicked for the corner, and all of a sudden they've got a defensive line at their own 22. Let's see if it works.
Well, I've never seen anybody do that before, concede possession right from the kickoff, certainly not as deliberately as that, and what an extraordinary ploy. So the opening scrum, Big John Hayes on the tight head side for Ireland against the hard scrumming Andrea Lo Cicero. Good strike by Shane Byrne. That's a good Irish scrum, Foley controlled, up they come. Castro Giovanni and Reggie Corrigan on the far side.
Whereas there are a lot of teams in this Six Nations Championship that give their eye teeth for those 2 props. They really are outstanding, and as Keith Wood said before the programme, 2 young props as well. They're going to be around for some time to come, and because they're playing on the Italian side, probably don't get the amount of credit they deserve. Reggie Corrigan and John Hayes are going to have a difficult enough afternoon today.
Kelvin Deeker's given a penalty against the Italians, so their little ploy didn't pay off at all. They've conceded possession, and they may well now concede position. And I think Roland O'Gara's had a little glance at the post, because Ireland, if anything, have got a fairly stiffish breeze behind them, and O'Gara, with what, a minute and a half gone, is deciding that he's going to have a pop at the post, and the Italians might just be made to pay for that little flight of fancy.
Yes, we can all say what if. We don't know what would have happened had they taken a more conventional kickoff, but I guess Ireland electing to play with this breeze at their backs. They don't really want to let Italy get a smell of this game. They want to try and establish a dominance of the game first half, and I guess take any kind of optimism out of this Italian side.
He's asked Simon Easterby to act as a placer, which always makes life a little bit more difficult. Now, if this breeze is directly down the field, this might not be a bad kick for Roland O'Gara, but if it's swirling, he could be in trouble. Not a great contact. Is it going to curl in? Just pushed it a little bit on the wide side. Well, it was certainly worth it, because 3 points at that stage would have been worthwhile. And it was extraordinary half an hour before the game, Philip. The posts were swinging about, moving, what, 10-15 feet at one stage.
That's right. Any marginal kicks, so you're going to have to allow for the sway of the post, I think.
We start by the Italians. O'Gara, ball in hand for the first time. Interesting, there's Murphy. This is what he's back on the side for. Great run by Murphy into the Italian 22. Now Stringer. Easterby gets the body through the tackle. Bright sunlight here, and the wind, if anything, has dropped ever so slightly, but it's in Ireland's favour. Stringer. Darcy knocked it forward, but the Italians have got themselves offside, and Ireland have the penalty.
Well, Jordan Murphy's made a tremendous comeback, hasn't he? I must have been surprised at how quickly he's come back into international rugby. It's a nice... He's obviously got the space, and again, Ireland first opportunity getting the ball wide to Murray. They're going to want to do that this afternoon. Whilst the conditions might not suit it perfectly, I don't think they're going to alter the game plan too drastically. That's where the danger zone is for Ireland, and they know that that's where Italy can be weak.
Well, last time Ireland were here in this position against Wales in the opening couple of minutes of that game, and they scored through this man, Shane Byrne, who came careering off a ruck after the Irish forwards had secured line-out possession. But throwing the ball anywhere other to the front of the line-out is going to be difficult. Well taken at the front, though. Stringer, bit scrappy. And Knocked forward by Ireland, and that I think is a measure of how difficult that win is really going to be, and anything beyond what 2 or 3 in the line out, Philip's going to be difficult.
It is, and Italy really obviously learned what Wales had failed to learn. They really stopped that Irish mold before it even got started, which is the only thing to do, because once it gains that momentum, it's very difficult to stop.
Away come the Italians. Good tackle by Easterby on Scott Palmer, the Kiwi playing at number 8 for the Italians. Another Kiwi at halfback, as they call it. Paul Griffin waits. Good pressure being kept on the Italians, and it's difficult for them to get this ball away. Di Marigny charged down by Stringer. He is such a little live wire, Peter Stringer. A lot of people say his game is a little bit one-dimensional, but he pulls off wonderful tap tackles with extraordinary regularity, and look how quickly he was closing down the Italians.
Yes, he really closed that down well. You're bringing to mind the Jason Robinson tackle, but also his part in the Ben Cohen near try as well. His work rate is tremendous. He might be the heaviest and most physical of scrum halves in the game, but you can't question his commitment to his work rate.
Shane Byrne has done it again. That's picked up by Gleeson. Ireland may have just nudged that one backward through Easterby. This time it's Ireland get penalised. Hand on the ground. And I think the naughty boy was Simon Easterby. The Italians taking quite a few chances here, which I'm surprised at. And that's not a good kick. Shane Horgan got O'Driscoll with him. There's the skipper. Clever kick, Griffin. Straight into his arms, and he calls for and has been awarded the fair catch. Coming up to 6 minutes played, still no score. The Italians still to beat Ireland in the championship. They had a great little spell in the mid-90s when they beat Ireland on 3 successive occasions. But since they've come into the championship, it's been Ireland all the way, and with 1 or 2 record scores. Shane Byrne had an exceptional afternoon at Twickenham and enjoyed a fair bit of banter with England's hooker, Mr. Thompson, who couldn't get a throw right all day, and I think Shane Byrne reminded him of that fairly regularly throughout the course of that particular game. But the wind is very difficult, making the job of the thrower and the jumpers almost impossible. That's nicely taken. O'Kelly scooped it back. Referees said no, it did go forward from an Irish hand. Are Ireland right to be throwing it as far to the back of the line out as that?
Well, in these conditions is a difficult ask, but Italy had, as you can see, both Bortolami and Cecchinato both in the air there, so Byrne really having to go to the back. That was what was called, but I guess what you would have expected would have been trying to get either O'Callaghan or Kelly free at number 2 or number 4.
That's often the easiest one to defend against. This is Griffin. Ongaro with a good strike. Good solid Italian scrum. Great work by Stringer. That's gone forward. Referee seems to be waiting for some sort of advantage, and it hasn't come, and the Italians have given away the penalty. It's good pressure by the Irish pack from that scrum. It's a sort of looking Italian scrum, and Stringer really has done a couple of fantastic pieces of work from the base of the Irish scrum in terms of pressurising Italians.
He did, but Scott Palmer didn't deal with that particularly well. He broke very, very early from that scrum with the ball at his feet and really signals his intentions to Stringer, and it's resulted in an Irish line out some 7 or 8 metres from this Italian line, so let's see what they can do with this.
Shane Byrne once again. He's got to get this one right. That's better from Easterby. In goes Corrigan. Hayes is in support. Here goes Byrne. The Lansdowne roar starts to pick up. This is good driving by the Irish pack. The Italians have got to watch not to drag it down, otherwise that'll be another penalty. Shane Horgan's lurking on the narrow side. There goes O'Callaghan, looking for his first international try. Now Stringer, O'Gara, O'Driscoll, still O'Driscoll. The Italians have put them back behind the gain line. This is Donnacha O'Callaghan, called in at lunchtime yesterday. Still there for Ireland. Stringer back inside to Foley, couldn't quite take it. That was the move that worked so well against the Welsh and produced a try for Anthony Foley, but it was not forward.
The Italians defending that very, very well. Ireland going to the tail of the line. It's much more difficult to defend the rolling ball to the tail of the lineup because Italy don't really have the numbers there to defend it, but when that ball needed to be moved wide, maybe just Ireland went one step too far.
Good Irish scrummage once again. Stringer does a good job, and Palmer, who's got away. Horgan had to come in off the Irish wind to make the tackle. That's gone loose. Anthony Foley almost claimed that on the ground for Ireland. De Marigny into touch. Well, let's hear first thoughts from Keith Wood.
That's the first decent kick that de Marigny has got away. The Italians have been under unbelievable pressure from 3 terrible dropouts, 1 block down kick and 1 scuttery penalty kick to touch. And if Ireland keep putting the pressure down there, they just have to get the scores.
Well, that's right, and just kicking into that breeze is so difficult. The ball can move just a couple of inches away where you want to set it onto your foot. It makes it very, very difficult. So Italy's kicking game is going to be very, very conservative into this breeze.
Byrne again. That's nicely done by Foley. Ireland have a lot of options at the line out front, middle and back. Again, the Italians have held it up. Here come Ireland with the secondary drive if they can. That's well read by the Italians. Easterby reckons he was held in illegally. Here come Ireland on the narrow side. This is Malcolm O'Kelly, equaling the record of the great Willie John McBride today. Foley, who won his 50th cap at Twickenham. Shane Byrne to set it up. The Italians once again, I think, transgressing. Keith Gleeson has to tidy. Good work by the Leinster flanker. Again, there's an Italian in the way. Referee's having a good look. Stringer, O'Gara. That surely has gone forward. Will the referee bring them back for the original infringement? Maybe he decided that the advantage was over.
Yeah, so there's a problem for Ronan O'Gara. Bringing to mind those long, loopy missed passes that he was able to throw so effortlessly in Twickenham. This wind is not going to allow him to do that, and the fact that this Italian defence is right up in his face is not going to allow him to do that as well. So they're just going to have to rethink this and maybe just take the ball on through up the middle a little bit tighter. These are the kind of days when you wish you maybe have a Kevin Maggs on the side, and maybe Brian O'Driscoll is going to have to play that straight, hard running inside centre role today.
Well, we've got an injury to an Italian player, and it's Fabio Ongaro, the hooker, who scored a somewhat controversial try, you'd have to say, against the Scots, but it didn't go to the TV match official, and the touch judge said it was a try, and the referee gave the try, and the Scots weren't very happy. Ongaro seems to be fine, playing against Ireland for the second time today, winning in his 20th international cap. Back in time to get the strike. Again, Stringer tried to disrupt. This is the skipper. De Rossi comes away. Persico takes it on. This is the best piece of Italian play so far. Good work by the forwards. Griffin digs it out. Ireland up very flat. De Marigny, Christian Stoica. Better by Italy, keeping it tight into the wind. That's a good play by them. This is a Castro Giovanni, this massive tight head prop, only a youngster, 22 years of age. Here they come again. De Marigny. Cicero is there with them as well. Again, that's good continuity by Italy. A wee bit on the slow side. Bringing in the wing. Dallan. Griffin again. Persico. Cicero. Ireland keeping them in and around their own 10-metre line, which will suit Ireland right down to the ground. But Italy still have possession. Griffin. Change of mind, a little bit of a run. Now that could prove his undoing, because he's given Ireland time to pounce. Well won by the Italians. Ireland offside. I don't somehow think Italy will kick for goal from here.
No, it's very clear what they need to do. Then question whether they even kicked a touch, and they're not.
Well, Stoica takes it quickly. I'm not sure Ireland were back to 10 metres, but the referees allowed that to go on. Top judges Chris White from England, incidentally, and Rob Dixon from Scotland. Well, Cicero once again takes it forward. Good work by the Italian tight forwards. That's sloppy. Griffin. De Rossi, the skipper. No way through Easterby and Foley. And again, they make it available. John Curran will be pretty pleased with the standard of ball retention by the Italian pack. Holding on in the tackle.
Now you can see that sometimes playing with the wind is a bit of a mixed blessing. Italy know exactly what they need to do, because they simply can't kick the ball. It's going to be a forward-dominated game plan. They're going to take the ball up, try and recycle even in their own 22. Danger is you give away that penalty and you lose 50 metres.
O'Gara. Well, he's got a huge breeze behind him and he's made good use of it. But we're coming up to almost a quarter of an hour played, and Ireland haven't got their points on the board, and maybe that's going to sow a little seed of doubt and bring in certain elements of anxiety.
Yes, they haven't really settled any definable plan yet. They've had a couple of liners from which they've tried to maul, a couple of balls they've tried to move wide, and nothing's really come off the way they'd like it to, so they really need to start turning some of this territory into points.
I think the Italians are warming up a replacement. It's Carlo Festuccia, the replacement hooker. So Fabio Ongaro seems to be in a little bit of trouble, or more trouble than we initially thought. That's better by Ireland. Great take by Easterby. Good support from his front row forwards. Ireland holding on, but that's allowing the Italian defence to come up very flat. Stringer, O'Gara, Foley. Good work by the Munster number 8. O'Driscoll goes in to act as a flanker. Here comes O'Kelly. Didn't really drive with great conviction, but he's retained possession. This is better work by the Irish pack. They're taking the Italians on and they're winning this battle. All of Lansdowne Road's getting behind those green-shirted Irish forwards. Can Shane Byrne burst away as he did against the Welsh? They're still going, so the referee's giving them every opportunity. When it stops, he'll give them a few seconds, and then if they don't play it, they'll lose it. Ireland still trundling forward. This is good work by the pack, and still they go. They're not too far away. Oh, it's come loose. That's going to be a penalty. Coming in from the side, I think, according to the referee, Kelvin Dicker.
Well, not for the first time, really. Italy at odds to really know what to do with this, because what Ireland did was change the point of attack so well. The continuity there was excellent. Nobody really knew where the ball was but Ireland. Anytime Italy tried to plug the back, they shifted the emphasis a little bit. Now they need to turn this into points. This is a real danger area. They can just get a good solid
look at
scrum.
the corner flag behind the referee. It's almost horizontal. That is a measure of how difficult this gale is here. Blowing into the face of the Italians, but Ireland really need some points on the board, because they'll have to face that in the second period. Now Stringer. Ireland have opted for the scrummage. O'Driscoll has to tidy up. Here comes O'Driscoll on his own. Well taken down. Hayes makes the bridge. Stringer, O'Gara, Gleeson. He had an overlap outside him, but he didn't really look. Darcy has to go in as a flank forward. Now Stringer again. Easterby. Castro Giovanni with the tackle. Hayes helps Easterby out. Ireland driving forward, and I think running into one of their own men. And that may well be an Italian scrummage.
They're finding it very difficult to move this ball with the breeze behind them. The ball just being blown away from the receiver. Much better to be throwing that ball into the wind, so to speak, where you can just float it out in front of the player, and you can just then pull it back into his chest. Peter Stringer's having to almost throw the ball at Ronan O'Gara's hip and hope that he'll be able to run onto it. 85% of time in the opposition half, and no points to show for it.
And we're almost up to the well, we're just past a quarter of an hour. Griffin.
Number 1, Green. Yes,
Reggie Corrigan penalised for going in at the wrong angle. Here comes De Rossi trying to move it wide to Matsukato. And the problems of the wind, I think, well illustrated. John Kirwan, I think, will not be desperately unhappy at this stage.
No, he'll be very pleased, because if Ireland, he could just keep the half-time score to about 10 points or so, I think he'd be absolutely delighted. It's a 10-point breeze, this, for two evenly matched sides, and at the moment, bar the territory, there's not a huge amount to tell between these two teams. Ireland really not showing the dominance they would have liked just yet.
Well, in the second half, Ireland will certainly try to run the ball into the wind, which is the sensible thing to do. That's a good take again by Easterby from a fine throw by Shane Byrne. This is better from the Irish pack. Here they come. There's options on both sides. There's a little narrow strip. And there's Byrne now. Look, this is deja vu. Can he thunder off as he did against the Welsh? He's certainly having a go. That's gone loose. Penalty against the Italians. Kelvin Dicker must be thinking about reaching for a card if they're persistingly offending.
I was just going to say that, Jim. Yes, if he can single out an individual, and if he can't, he's just going to penalise the next player. So
straight then on the green side.
Well, he has done, I think. It's Ongaro is going to go. We thought he might be going actually because of an injury, because Carlo Festuccio was warming up, and well, he did speak to them. He said, if you do that again, somebody's going to go. And Fabio Ongaro has gone to the sin bin. and Ireland might just opt for the scrummage. Well, they fooled me because O'Gara's going for the line out.
Well, Italy will have to watch themselves, because whatever about the loss of Ongaro, if they continue to persist in trying to stop the Irish maul in this way, they're going to lose somebody else as well. So really Ireland will be fairly optimistic when they get over from this one.
Well, if Ireland had gone for the scrummage, the Italians would have had to bring on a replacement hooker, but they would have to take off probably take off a back row forward. So an Ireland scrum would have been going in against 7 Italian forwards. So this is a very interesting option. So they've got to get this one right. That's been stolen. Would you believe it? Bortolami pinched it for Italy.
Yeah, so 9 times out of 10 you've expected Ireland to come up with that one. There just simply wasn't enough movement in the Irish line-out, and that big factor in that has been this win. Very, very difficult for Shane Byrne to find his men. They're having to really keep the jumpers at 2, 4 and 6, those kind of traditional positions, because of this wind, and that's making it an awful lot easier for Italy to oppose the throw.
That's a long throw. That's 2 in a row which have been rather messy. It's a free kick against the Italians for hoisting before the ball had left the hand of Shane Byrne. That's given Ireland the free. Now, will they consider the scrummage option? And they have done. They perhaps should have taken that out. I suppose being wise after the event is a wonderful thing, but they perhaps should have done that the first time round.
Yes, it's tempting really, because the line-out does pose you much better attacking options these days in the scrum, and particularly with the strength of this Italian front row. They might have preferred a clean ball at the line-out, but they've gone for the scrum, and again that does present them with the challenge of what they're going to do with this ball, with the wind behind them, with the ball being blown away when you're trying to throw those long passes. Maybe Anthony Foley's going to try and work something off the base, just keep it tight and establish some decent second phase possession, because moving it straight from this scrum is going to be very difficult with this breeze.
Well, they've had to take off the man who played for the New Zealand Maoris, Scott Palmer, to put on a hooker. O'Gara did well. Plenty of support. Murphy straight in there to help his outside half. Nice stringer. Easterby, little dummy by Simon Easterby. That's good work. He's got to cross that gain line. Stringer, that's quicker ball. Referee in the way. Gordon Darcy, well wrapped up by the Italians. Nice stringer. Donnacha O'Callaghan. Penalty against Ireland.
Well, again, O'Callaghan's run not offering anything as Italy go this quickly through Persico.
Well, if the Italians could keep this up, and keep Ireland, well, as close as this by half-time, this could be an entirely different game. The Italians are playing a remarkable game. Cicero tries to take it away. Griffin, Marigny. That's a bit aimless. That's a dreadful win. Poor Dempsey in all sorts of trouble, did well, got out of the way of Barbini's tackle. Stringer, great chance this for Ireland if they can shift this. O'Driscoll has got Darcy with them. There goes Darcy, trying to get outside Canali. Darcy has kept the ball available. Better by Ireland, they need it quickly. Stringer, Foley, lovely offload. Great stuff by Malcolm O'Kelly. Ireland really need the points. Nicely done, Shane Horgan. De Marigny with the tackle. There's Stringer, beautifully done. O'Driscoll, Gleeson. Good continuity by the Irish. Stringer again. O'Kelly's been in everything. O'Callaghan in to help. And O'Driscoll. Nice Stringer. Foley. Shane Byrne. Bit of space, but with this wind, space maybe isn't what they really want. Shane Horgan with the attempted chip, well covered by Griffin. Ireland trying every single variation, but their main problem is not the Italian defence, it's the wind. They get the penalty. Griffin holding on.
Yes, the wind playing really havoc there, but they got a bit of a pattern going there. Those short, sharp passes being played out of the tackle, where the ball just can't be blown away. Anytime they try to move it wide, though, you can see the effort they're having to put into those passes just to get them through this breeze. Anything that goes beyond 5 or 6 meters is really just being so badly affected by this wind.
O'Gara just whacks it straight into touch, and of course you're not allowed to take a line out anymore within 5 meters of the opponent's line. So it's an Irish line out again. Shane Byrne, who's misdirected a couple, has got to get this one right.
he's finding it difficult because the Italian jumpers are getting into the air very, very early. They're hanging, and then they're really forcing the long throw, which is something, as you said earlier on, Jim, you don't really want to have to do in this breeze.
Reggie Corrigan, I think, has got a little bit of blood around his mouth and nose, and the referee has insisted that that's been wiped off. Not enough to warrant a blood injury. Although Marcus Horan, I can see, is warming up underneath us, but I think that's purely precautionary in case they have to take O'Driscoll off. So that's good communication by the Irish officials down below. Horan has missed the first 3 games because of injury. Crucial time of the match now, coming into the second quarter as we are. And again, the onus is on Shane Byrne to get this one right. He's got O'Callaghan at the front, he's got O'Kelly in the middle, and plenty of options behind. That's well taken. Not too many people beat Malcolm O'Kelly in the middle of the line out on a straight jump. Pick up and drive by Ireland. Only 2-3 metres away. Referee's in a good position. He's having a real good look, Kelvin Deaker. Coming back on the Irish side, they're going to get the scrummage. That was desperately close to the first try. O'Callaghan, the last man up. This is going to be an attacking scrummage, and remember the Italians are down to 7 forwards. They don't have a number 8, so Ireland might try to attack them close in. Here they go with the shove. It's 8 against 7. Foley looking for the pickup. They've knocked it forward.
Unfortunately, Anthony Foley just let the ball get too far ahead of him there. Wasn't able to get his foot to that. He just popped it about a yard too forward. You just see it's in a nice position here at the moment. You just see him pop it forward. Yeah, he just overcooked that completely. Made it very easy for Delan to defend that.
Ireland get a huge shot. The Italian scrum, they've taken that against the head. It came out, it went back in again. So the referee will ask them to do the scrum again. It came squirting out the side, hit Peter Stringer, and went back into the scrummage. So it's still going to be an Italian scrummage. And Ireland will really want to get a savage shove on here. We have the 25 minutes gone, still no score, and I think the territorial advantage to Ireland must now be up to something like 90%. Looking for another shove. That's not straight. Penalty against Ireland. Not keeping it straight. Reggie Corrigan, I think, deemed to be the culprit. And again, Ireland in try-scoring positions, not able to finish it off. De Marigny has found a very good touch into a desperately difficult wind.
Yeah, so without overstressing the breeze, it's just having a huge effect on the game. It really is levelling things. You would expect from any Irish side of the last couple of years with this amount of possession. That scrum is just wheeling a little bit, and at the moment John Hayes seemed to be penalised for pulling. In other words, wheeling the scrum around. I don't really genuinely think that was the cause of it, but anybody's guess.
Well stolen by Ireland. Shane Byrne got it from O'Callaghan's tap down. Festuccio must be offside. Stringer, O'Gara, O'Driscoll glides through the first tackle. Quick ball by Gleeson. Stringer under a bit of pressure. Here's O'Kelly. Andrea De Rossi, the Italian skipper, with the tackle. Stringer, a lot of green shirts here. O'Gara to keep Italy bottled up. Beautiful kick. The touch judge, or the touch flag in the corner, is absolutely flattened by this breeze, and O'Gara has judged that beautifully.
Well, that was the first opportunity Ron O'Gara's really had to use the boots. It's because he spent so much time deep in Italy's half. He literally hasn't had that space to work with yet. Well executed though.
The Italians have shortened the line out, interestingly, on their own throw, so they've absolutely got to get this one right. Festuccio, quick throw taken by Malcolm O'Kelly, goes to the line, he's got the try, his 6th international try, more than any other Irish second row forward on the day when he equals the Irish record of the great Willie John McBride. What a moment for Malcolm O'Kelly. 5 tries up until today, and now a 6th, and what a moment in which to do it.
That came really in the most unlikeliest of circumstances, and possibly from the most unlikely of people as well. An Italian line, and Italy really didn't know what was going on there. Poor communication, and I guess with Carlo Festuccio having come on and not the regular hooker, I suppose you could blame that. But Malcolm O'Kenny was there to make the most of it. He was alive to it, if nobody else was.
Well, Malcolm O'Kelly got himself dropped for the game against Wales, and he wasn't picked initially. It wouldn't have been for the game against England, but Donnacha O'Callaghan couldn't play, and that really gave Malcolm O'Kelly a little kick in the derriere, which he perhaps needed, and he certainly had a smashing game at Twickenham, and he's had a great game today so far on this a hugely important day for him. So O'Gara again with Simon Easterby as the placer, because that ball would not stay upright on its own. He's got to try to push that across the front of the post and let it come in, and the wind is absolutely awful, but Ireland will be mightily relieved. Shane Horgan looks on, and he'd be very pleased with Malcolm O'Kelly. He perhaps couldn't believe it, the big fella. The Italians couldn't believe the poor throw by Pastuccio, but O'Kelly took that very gratefully indeed, and nobody was going to stop him.
No, it looked like that ball was due for Lo Cicero, who was really looking to lift a jumper, and he wasn't ready to take a low flat line-out throw, that's for sure.
So Ireland leading by 5 points to nil, having completely dominated this game thanks to a huge breeze. And Ronan O'Gara has used that breeze very well indeed. That's a terrific kick, because it's not just straight down the middle, it's swirling all over the place.
Yes, it's almost as if you had more chance of winning the ball on opposition throw than you do on your own. There's certainly no pressure when it's the opposition ball. Just get a couple of men into the air, difficult to throw it long, and with any luck you're going to win the ball.
Back on the pitch after his 10 minutes in the sin bin is Fabio Ongaro, and the Italians have brought back on the number 8 Scott Palmer as well, so they're back up to their full complement. They've got Palmer in the scrum half position from this line out, interestingly. Up goes O'Callaghan, a little bit of shoving. Look at O'Kelly. Well, he's really reveling in this. O'Callaghan picks up and takes it on. Stringer. Well, the wind is making life impossible for the halfbacks. Well tidied up by Keith Gleeson. Stringer, second bite at it. O'Driscoll. Well taken by Darcy. It's a very interesting centre combination, these two, very similar. O'Gara, that's nicely done. Got absolutely clattered, however, by Stoica. And close to the 22, Easterby. Not much in the way of options outside him, so he had to take it forward. Stringer, this is better, quick ball. Darcy again. Still going. Nobody in this near touchline. Everybody squeezed over towards the old East stand. Malcolm O'Kelly couldn't handle it. Griffin, referees playing good advantage. Away comes Persico. Still going. This is better by the Italians. That's the Ireland 10-metre line they're on. Griffin, De Marigny. It's not a bad kick. Now where's that going to go? Up comes Dallan, and he's kicked that. And that'll be an Irish throw. Dreadful wind down there. We actually don't appreciate. We're sitting up here in the commentary box, and it's fine. But I mean, 15 feet below us, it's awful.
Yeah, so you can just see the first 5 metres of the throw. Look at Peter Stringer's efforts in particular. Ball flies nicely.
They're threatening to take off. They're like windsocks at airports.
Yeah, the ball flies nicely for the first couple of metres, and then it just starts to waver away from the player. That's a good line out.
That's the first genuine number 2 throw they've really tried, and look how well it works. That's good. Foley's in there as well. Ireland staying on their feet. The Italians mustn't drag it down. They're going to get penalised if they do. Stringer, surely there's an Italian offside. Shane Horgan tries to set it up. Play on, says the referee. That's one on the ground by the Italians, but they did dive over. Kekinato, the last man in. Bortolami there too. Well, Andrea Ticero debating that with the referee, saying that the ball was out, but the referee said not so.
Well, I think that's a little unlucky. He might have felt with good reason that ball was out. Shane Horgan got a little bit isolated with the danger of giving that turnover, and maybe a little bit lucky not to have retained possession. However, it's another Irish throw, another liability. I'd really prefer to see an Italian throw here from an Irish perspective. Better chance of winning it cleanly, based on the stats so far.
Certainly ruffling Shane Byrne's well-documented tresses. That's another good line out by the Irish. O'Kelly, the try scorer, takes Byrne in there quickly to tidy it up. Again, an Italian getting in the way. Again, it was Kekinato who's been around every single corner. This is better by the Irish pack. Again, they go down. Well taken by O'Gara. O'Driscoll. Big Shane Horgan. De Rossi was the man with the tackle. Well tidied up by Stringer and by his Munster teammate Anthony Foley. Stringer again for Driscoll. Good pass. Lovely offload. Here comes Murphy. Can he celebrate his return with a try? He's very close. Very close indeed. What a wonderful moment that would have been for Jordan Murphy.
Well, it didn't look as though there was anything really on there. Italy appeared to have that fairly well covered, and for once that wide, but he just steps inside Canali and who manages to pull him into that corner flag.
I think he might just have nudged it forward as he took the pass from Dempsey. Yeah, just went forward. It's gone into touch, and it's an Italian scrummage and not a line-out. Palmer picks up. Brave little Peter Stringer holds him up. Griffin. Well kept in by Murphy. Now Gervin Dempsey. Horgan is there. Darcy's out wide. Here goes Horgan. Great run by Horgan. Easterby in support. Stringer. O'Driscoll. Interesting change of direction by the skipper. Lovely dummy. O'Driscoll, is he going to break the record? What a try by O'Driscoll. And he reclaims the Irish try-scoring record. Ireland's captain scorches in for his 24th Test try, having conceded the record to his colleague Dennis Hickey. And O'Driscoll has set Lansdowne Road alight on an awfully cold, windy day.
Well, they struggled to break this Italian fence down in the breeze from set pieces, but from broken play, when really the Italian defence was all over the place. You could almost predict what was going to happen. He was going to go outside Ongaro because Mazzucato had Jordan Murphy very well covered. That was tailor-made for Brian O'Driscoll. A little bit of space to run, that weaving, jinking run, just finding themselves having to round corners and forwards. Yeah, Mazzucato has to stay out, but Ongaro simply hasn't got the pace to cover that.
Well, that was a moment of sheer individual brilliance from one of the most talented players who maybe didn't have a great game at Twickenham, but he's made up for it this afternoon in front of his adoring home crowd. O'Gara, difficult kick this, that doesn't look a bad one. What a belter from Ronan O'Gara. The wind may well have been behind him, but it's swirling, and he judged that quite beautifully, and all of a sudden this game has taken on an entirely different complexion. It was wonderfully done. Look at O'Driscoll, he had such a lot to do. The curving run, the dummy, the straighten, and right outside Ongaro, the hooker was never going to stop a world-class centre.
Now you can see why other sides have struggled against Italy, particularly from set pieces, from orthodox running, but you need somebody with a little bit of world-class and game-breaking ability in your side if you're going to break down this Italian defence. And that man in the picture certainly has all of that. If he hasn't had his best Six Nations season, he hasn't lost the class, the innate ability.
Well, you never lose that. 12-0 now to Ireland, and half-time not too far away. We played coming up to 35 minutes, and the rain is just coming drizzling down. This was the sort of day that my dear old friend and much missed commentator from the radio days, Peter West, used to call a soft Irish day. It's more like a monsoon, I have to say. Palmer comes up to the front, well taken though by the Italians. That was Bortolami in the middle of the line-out. Ireland making it difficult. Good work, Lo Cicero tries to take it forward. Ireland have pushed him back behind that all-important gain line. Griffin, they're going nowhere at the moment. Stoica is so big and strong.
Take the six, go, six green. His ball, stay last.
Italy have conceded some 10 or 15 metres, but they've still got possession. Through came Gleeson, referees let that go. It was Persico at scrum half. Zuccato who's come in off the right wing. Again, Ireland making good inroads. Clever kick by Stringer for Shane Horgan to chase. Griffin, all he can do is walk into touch, and that's going to be an Irish line-out. Another Irish try by half-time, Philip. Well, I think they'll probably need it, given that they've got to play against a very strong wind in the second half.
They will. They might have liked to have opened up maybe a 20-point gap. Maybe that's a little bit optimistic in these conditions. But certainly for the judge against the first half hour, if they can make the last quarter of this game tell, then they won't be too displeased. And to be honest, the second half, there's going to be no doubt about their tactics. There's only one way they can play into this breeze. So
superb take by Malcolm O'Kelly, score of Ireland's first try this afternoon. And away come the Irish pack. That's a great green rumble down the narrow side. Corrigan leading. Terrific possession. A little bit sloppy at the end. O'Kelly has to tidy it up. In goes Horgan as well. John Hayes too. Stringer. Foley. He's got Easterby in concert. Stringer not at all happy. I wonder, is the referee going to think about another card? Castro Giovanni, I think, the last man in there, who was penalised. This looks pretty kickable, but Ireland may well opt for the try, and Eddie O'Sullivan, I think, won't be too displeased. The first 20 minutes, I think, will have given him a little bit of concern, but he'd be pleased in particular about the last 10 or 12 minutes.
Yes, they got into their stride a little bit more. The first 20 minutes didn't really know what to do with this breeze. I think they themselves even underestimated the effect it was going to have. Trying to play the expansive game, which is the natural instinct, and also it's the type of game to play against this Italian side, but it's just simply not possible with this wind.
Well, Ronan O'Gara, under normal circumstances, you would have said that the young monster outside half could have kicked this with his eyes closed. He's got to keep both eyes on the ball and on the post and just about everywhere else, and he's got to allow for this wind, even though it's almost straight in front of the post. This to take him up to 399 international points, just one away from that 400 mark. Again, needs to be as the placer. Oh, we overcompensated. Well, that's gone loose, well taken in by the Italians. Good chance for Ireland if they could turn this over, however. Those 3 points might just have been pretty crucial. De Marigny keeps it low. Sensibly, Dempsey let it go, because it's going to be an Irish line out. How bad a miss was that?
I think he'll be very disappointed with that. It was close range, and basically, as you'd say, he was aiming for that left-hand post, and it wasn't really affected too much by the breeze. He needed to aim within the post. He'll be disappointed. That's probably not up to the standard he would have set himself.
Yet he just dragged it a little bit to the far side. One straight down the middle might have done, but he's the man who's kicking down there. He knows the conditions better than anyone. Chris White enjoying his afternoon, a broad grin on the Englishman's face. Shane Byrne, cleverly delayed. Easterby. Free kick against the Italians. Once again putting men up in the air at the front. Taken quickly by Anthony Foley. Trying to take advantage. Here comes O'Kelly. Oh, he's got the body round well. Stringer, this is better from Ireland. Little flat pass. Here's O'Driscoll. Every time he touches the ball, the crowd roar. John Hayes sets it up for Ireland. Options on both sides. Foley takes it forward. Ireland, I think, looking for a penalty for offside. Stringer back to Jordan Murphy. Not the sort of ball he particularly revels in. Stringer again. That's gone back. Well tidied up by Gervin Dempsey. So many Irish backs doing forwards jobs, and they have to in this awfully windy day. Well set up by Ireland once again. Italy making it difficult for them. They've slowed it down. O'Gara has to go in. Stringer, well picked up by O'Driscoll. Nice flat pass. Murphy. Griffin has him. Shane Horgan's in there, and O'Driscoll. Now Stringer. Was there a runner coming in front? Gleeson, I think, might well have been penalised for crossing. Here comes Shane Horgan. Murphy does wonderfully well, as does O'Driscoll. Shane Byrne. Well, they're making heavy weather of this, but they've still got possession. This is O'Callaghan to try to inject a bit of power and pace. Referee telling the Italians to get away. Stringer has a go himself. Nearly got away with it. Advantage going to the Italians from the knock forward, and as we come up to half-time, that's the last act of this first half, and well, apart from an individual piece of brilliance by Brian O'Driscoll and Malcolm O'Kelly's opportunist try, the main talking point about this first half, I think, is going to be the wind.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult for Ireland. Huge territorial advantage, weren't really able to make a count in the way that they would like to have, but it's going to be a very, very different prospect for them in the second half. They're going to have to spend a lot of time defending deep, and when they get possession, they're going to have to basically move it the length of the pitch.
Well, try by Malcolm O'Kelly, his 6th international try, won by Brian O'Driscoll, his 24th to establish a new record, converted by Ronan O'Gara. Ireland 12 points to 0 up against the Italians at a very windy Lansdowne Road.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome onto the pitch the
Thank you very much indeed, and my sympathies to the chaps down on the touchline, especially the follically challenged Mr. Wood, who I think will probably be doing a little beanie down there. But then he survived most of his adult life, indeed most of his life, without too much on top. And I'm referring to hair as opposed to brains. Brian O'Driscoll now once again establishes Ireland's record try scorer, leads what looks like an unchanged Irish 15 out onto the pitch. The Italians are unchanged as well, and Brian O'Driscoll I think will have had a little word, and it's all about tactics in this second half, and how will Ireland approach it?
Well, there's only one way to approach it, Jim, but Ireland are in danger of losing. I mean, Italy can win this game. They're 4 converted penalties behind, tying the scores at 12-all. Anything can happen. They're going to have to spend a lot of time in their own half. That's clear because of the wind. They're just going to have to carry the ball into this wind. There's nothing else for it. Lone Regara, it's going to be impossible to kick into this wind. And the danger is that the continuity game, if that slips, if that falls, they concede a turnover, all of a sudden they're right back in their own 22 again. So they're just going to have to run the ball into this wind, but keep it nice and tight.
Well, an orthodox restart kick for O'Gara. That's a very useful even though it's pulled in by Mario Bortolami for the Italians. And you can expect a bit of a whack down the park, although the Italians are trying to soften up the Irish, as the Irish did to the Italians in the first half. So 12-0, remember, to Ireland as we start this second half. Tries by O'Kelly and O'Driscoll. Griffin, he's brought that infield. Well, that was a real mix-up between two full backs, and the old adage, certainly from my school days, Philip, was that the man who's running onto it should always be allowed to take it.
Yeah, well, it was Gervin Dempsey's ball. He was best, although you can see there was a little bit of confusion, and that Jordan Murphy had really come in off his wing to defend that kick. But that's the difficulty that are presented by Ireland. And Ireland are probably going to have to be very opportunistic in terms of running back some of those balls as well and countering, because possession in open territory is going to be pretty hard to get. Kicking the touch is not going to be an option, so
the Italians will be desperate to get points on the board as early as they can in the second half. That's a good Irish scrummage on the Italian put-in. Once again, little Peter Stringer trying to disrupt. Well won by the Italians at the second attempt. Getting stamping by Griffin. Don't do that, says the referee. De Marigny. It was Barbini who took it on, the little inside centre. Well taken by Donica O'Callaghan. This is good work by the Irish pack, and by Gordon Darcy, who's acting like an auxiliary flank forward. This is Stringer. Ronan O'Gara. Good work by Gleeson. There was an Irish advantage, which is now over. Stringer. It's a wild pass, wonderfully picked up off his toes by Jordan Murphy. O'Driscoll has to go in. Darcy again in the middle, but Ireland's centres playing like open and blindside flank forwards. That's going to hang tantalisingly. That looked a little bit on the high side by Shane Horgan. He may well have got hurt in that tackle. That was Gonzalo Canali who came in. Read it very nicely indeed. It was a clever little kick by Ronan O'Gara. There was a little bit of a gap there. Now I think he ducked into that.
He did, but it was still a high tackle no matter what you say. And Shane Horgan, I'm kind of lucky to get away with that, to be honest.
Well, the touch judge on the far side is Scotland's Rob Dixon. Now, has he had a word? I don't think he has with the referee about that, because he certainly hasn't put his flag out, and I think he's accepted that Canali did actually duck into it, but it did look a little bit on the nasty side, and I don't feel that there was any element of malice there. It was well read, and he kept his eye on the ball all the way through, and Horgan saw him coming. Well, touch and go.
Touch and go. I mean, Horgan's a big guy, and Canali's not the tallest, maybe, but Horgan really should have kept a little bit lower. He's lucky they haven't conceded a penalty there, however. Irish line out.
Because in the tackle, Canali's foot was just into touch, so it's going to be Ireland's throw. Shane Byrne, the first throw of the second half. Oh, that's all over the place. Good advantage been played. De Rossi, lovely offload. Barbini. Still advantage to Italy. The referee may have decided it's over. Stoica, clever kick for Mazzucato to chase. Murphy's going to have to be quick. And Mazzucato showed a fair old turn of pace, because Jordan Murphy is not slow. And this fella looks like a Keith Wood on the run.
Well, he does, and Italy really fancy their chances in this half. There's no question about it. It's going to be fairly easy for them to get territory. They know that. And if they spend enough time in Irish territory, the Irish defence is going to have to be so disciplined not to concede three-point opportunities, and they fancy their chances about scoring tries as well, you can see.
Well, they've come back for the earlier infringement. Good Irish scrum on their own put-in. Italy trying to wheel them round. Stringer, that's nicely done. Darcy almost got away from Barbini, but he's still doing well. Well, Ireland now with two centres who both need watching and both need shackling. O'Callaghan. Ireland back to where they started, so they've made no progress really from that set scrummage. O'Gara will have to try to run this if they can. O'Driscoll. Shane Horgan is in there too. The Italians desperate to keep Ireland bottled up, and that's a good turnover by the Italians. That's the first one they've managed. Palmer can't hold. Well, that was a bit unfortunate. Scott Palmer, who's come in for the hugely talented Italian young number 8, Sergio Parisi, who's missing this game because of injury, and I think his presence is being missed.
It is, but it's so easy for Italy at the moment. They can afford to lie up very, very flat. They don't have a kick to defend. They know Ireland have to run the ball, as indeed they're moving it from here, and it's so much easier for them.
Here comes Horgan against Dallan. Cleverly done by Horgan, kept it in play. Canale, no Horgan to challenge him, but Dempsey's there. Well done by the Italians. Griffin had nobody outside him, and that's a clever little tactical kick by him, even though it's going to be an Irish throw. Good appreciation of the elements by the Italians.
Yes, they've been watching how difficult it's been for Ireland in this first half, and they know that just putting the boot to ball is going to be by far the easiest way. We've seen how difficult it is to move the ball by hand, and all of a sudden they've got themselves a very good attacking position again. It's an Irish line-out, but that's, you can almost say, liability for a line-out, because it's a real lottery out there.
Gibson's tracksuit almost getting blown inside out. Wonderful take by Donnacha O'Callaghan, and he offloaded it very quickly. This is good stuff. Away comes Shane Byrne, who's having a magnificent season. Ireland have made some 15 metres. O'Gara, Darcy, O'Driscoll. There's men here. Gleeson might have given it the first time. He should have given it the first time. Well, it's not a case of he who hesitates is lost, but he who hesitates makes a mess of it.
Well, really, that ball should have been moved, but again, the pass should have been held. You really can't afford to put down opportunities like that. Possession is difficult enough to come by. That should have been held by Gervin Dempsey, really.
And all sorts of fun and games in the respective front rows. And the Italian tight five have not really gained any real ascendancy over this experienced Irish front row in particular. Better by the Italians on their own put-in. That's collapsed. Reggie Corrigan trying to just slip his bind and get right underneath the Italian tight head, Leandro Castrogiovanni. And this is a chance for points. And they're going to go for goal.
Yes, well, they have to go for goal. De Marigny is going to have to slot some penalties if Italy are going to get through this. This is that scrum. Fortunately, Mr. Dawker's kind of getting in the way a little bit there, but
yeah, Reggie Corrigan has got to keep his bind up. He's got to keep that outside arm well up on the back of his opposite number, the tight head prop Castrogiovanni. And what he actually did was he slipped the arm inside and was binding in the chest, which allows him to pull down, which he's not allowed to do. So about 6 minutes or so into the second half. Well, as Ronan O'Gara found out in the first half, it's very difficult, even from relatively close range. Marigny, well, he's well overcompensated. Well taken by Gleeson. That's a better pass by him. Darcy with a real injection of pace. What a runner this fellow is with ball in hand. Good covering tackle by Barbini. Anthony Foley bludgeons his way into the Italian half. Stringer, a little bit of overrunning. Well picked up by Shane Horgan. Indecision there by Ireland at half-back, and they've lost that one. This could be crucial. Marigny, Mazzucato is big and strong. Good covering tackle by O'Callaghan. Here come the Azzurri. Scott Palmer wriggles away. Shane Byrne with the tackle. Butticello with the pick-up and drive. That's the Irish 22. And what should have been a good Irish attacking position means that Ireland are now defending desperately. Christian Stoica. Tackled by Gleeson. Denis Dallan, Castrogiovanni, Persico, Canale, thumping tackle this time by O'Kelly. Great approach work by the Italians. Castrogiovanni against Peter Stringer. Something of an uneven contest, but the little fellow did well. Griffin, Ongaro, Griffin again. De Rossi the skipper. Palmer into support. Great Italian pressure. Persico. Little chip through, taken by Murphy. Italy have given away possession. Good tactics by Ireland, using Donnacha O'Callaghan to set the whole thing up. In goes Easterby to help to clear. Terrific work by O'Gara into the teeth of a real force 10.
Well, it's difficult to appreciate what a great strike that was from Ronan O'Gara. So difficult to get the ball onto your boot the way you wanted. He had to literally aim to parallel to the 15-metre line so that the wind would push that into touch. Great boot.
Untidy by the Italians, that might have been knocked forward. Ireland not observing the spacing, and they concede the free kick given to the Italians by New Zealand referee Kelvin Dicker. As a Cato, what a thump by Simon Easterby, and this could be an Irish turnover. That was a wonderful hit by Easterby. He's having such a good season, does so much hard work. Back inside to O'Driscoll, he took that pass well, sensibly held on, but he's had to let it go on the tackle, and the referee has brought them back for the initial offence. Italy holding on in the tackle.
Well, yes, it was a great hit by Easterby. And Italy just holding on to that ball, referee playing advantage. Didn't see if Ireland got much advantage out of that.
What a turnaround, 93% in favour of Italy. Ireland have hardly been in the Italian half except when Ronan O'Gara kicked off. Now they have through Malcolm O'Kelly. Score of the first try. This is better. Stringer. Big John Hayes. Stringer again. O'Gara. Nice little flat pass. This is Keith Gleeson. Again Ireland have made ground. Stringer. O'Kelly took it well. Good work by the Irish tight forwards. That's clever work into a very stiff wind. You've got to keep this fairly tight. Here comes Easterby. Got the body through the tackle. Might have been an Italian hand there. The referee's playing advantage. Shane Horgan still there. This is Gordon Darcy. Castro Giovanni and Bortolami nail him. Now Stringer. That was a dreadful pass, and the referee, I think, has brought them back for the initial offence, which is the Italian knock forward, and that's going to be an Irish scrummage.
Yeah, so Ronan O'Gara proving that even into this breeze, it's so difficult to move anything beyond 10 metres. That ball really, you can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to take out 3 Italian players with one simple pass. And in normal conditions, that's the right thing to do, but just not possible in these conditions.
Injury to the Italian tight head prop, Leandro Castrogiovanni, plays his club rugby with Calvisano. He's playing against Ireland for the 3rd time in his career, and at 22 and just 18 caps under his belt, he's a real find. And this fella, having had an iffy start in his international career as a teenager, has come through, and there's a man who's got well, all the accolades. 65 caps for New Zealand. Kerwin getting instructions down to the men at ground level. Good Irish scrummage. Eddie O'Sullivan, I think, looking on, absolutely stone-faced. He hardly raised a smile at Twickenham last week, at least up until I think he was well inside the dressing room. And he hasn't stopped smiling since. Don't forget, stay with us, England against Wales from Twickenham, kicking off live here on BBC at 4 o'clock. In the meantime, it's O'Driscoll. And this is Darcy, his partner in crime, who's done wonderfully well. What a handful he is. O'Driscoll, little show of the ball. Good offload to Gleeson. Great work by the open side flanker. This is better work by Ireland. O'Gara, Foley, that's good, sensible, hard graft by the Irish back row forward. Stringer, lovely soft hands. Darcy really is a bundle of mischief. This is Simon Easterby. Stringer, Reggie Corrigan, the oldest man on the Irish team. Stringer has to go in. Darcy. There's Canali and Italy offside right in front of their own posts. Mario Bortolami, the culprit, taken quickly by Ireland. They need this one quickly. Options on both sides. Darcy, John Hayes. Good driving by the heaviest man on the Irish pack at some 20 stones. Pick up and drive once again by O'Callaghan. Still there for Ireland. A try now would really cause the Italians so many problems. Stringer, O'Gara, nicely done. Shane Horgan, wonderful stuff. What a sublime pass from Ronan O'Gara. With that wind down there, he had to judge it to a nicety, and that's as good a pass as Ronan O'Gara has ever given in his career. And what a wonderful line big Shane Horgan took to get in for his 11th international try.
Well, the build-up by the foes just sucked in so many Italian defenders. The overlap was on there. They must have had about a 5-3. This is probably about the third or fourth phase possession they've taken. And again, O'Gara just missing out the art, just doing that simple miss one pass, which put Shane Horgan into space. Italy just simply didn't have the weight of numbers there to defend that. Lovely flat pass, that was on all the way. It was great vision to know it was on. Just takes out Malcolm O'Kelly. It really stretches Shane Horgan, and it had to be that flat just to get him through that gap. That'll give him a tremendous amount of confidence. And that's a real blow for Italy now. They were hoping that they were going to be able to contain this Irish team into their own half for the majority of the game, but one intrusion into Italy territory and they've come away with 7 points.
Well, the man who set it all up has added the points, but this was absolutely, well, delicious by O'Gara. Look at that, perfect. Was it a wee bit on the forward side? The Italians thought it was. The referee was on the spot. Shane Horgan didn't care.
Number 12.
So O'Gara's conversion, and the Italians are bringing on a couple of replacements. Santiago Delape is coming on, and so too is Mirko Bergamasco. But what a very good try, having weathered a serious piece of Italian pressure. Ireland 19-0 up now, and we played just about 15 minutes in the second half. Irish line out. It's Massey has actually come on. They changed their number, so Andrea Massey has come on to play in the centre for Barbini, and Delape has come on to play in the second row. Shane Byrne, nicely floated, well taken by Foley, but what a great piece of lifting by Simon Easterby. Away come the Irish pack. This is a good drive out of their 22. Italians have got themselves offside, and that try will be a real blow to them.
No competition. No competition.
Let's have a little saunter down touch side and see how Keith Wood's getting on.
What was delightful about that try was Ronan O'Gara, was his awareness to see Christian Stoica come out of the line, and he just put the ball right across in front of him into the gap. Shane Horgan ran a perfect line onto it. It's become a total slugfest, but if the play continues as it is at the moment, it looks like there'll be another Italian on the bench. They've given, in the bin, they've given another 4 or 5 penalties away in this half. If that happens, Ireland have a chance to pick up a few more scores.
Hard flat throw, well snaffled by the Italians. Ongaro can't quite get it, but does so at the second attempt. Cicero is helping him. Palmer in there too, and Delape the replacement. De Marigny, Massey, who started the championship at fullback and has also played at outside half. This is Denis Dallan. A little bit more urgency now in the Italian play. They're 19 points adrift. Here they come again. That was Persico. Good running. That was Stoica. Griffin, wee bit of a fumble. Referee says play on. Bortolami. Griffin. De Rossi. Might have been a bit of crossing there from Massey, but again the referee lets that go. Keith Gleeson putting in the tackle. Nicely done. Griffin nearly got through. Kelly made a half-hearted attempt to get him. He was wrong-footed. Persico. They've got men there. Ongaro takes it on. This is a dangerous piece of play by the Italians. Delape, the replacement, second row forward. Griffin. Well, that ball should have been given first time, but Dallan delayed. Griffin still trying to drive forward. The Italians deep into the Irish 22 for the first time in about 10 minutes. Persico. Christian Stoica. Flat pass. Somebody's got hurt in that. I think it was Gleeson who went in with the shoulder. Still there for Italy. Stoica. Little sidestep. Does well to hold off 2 or 3 Irish defenders, and Gleeson, I think, this time is hurt. Griffin Not a great pass. Mazzucato sells a dummy. Canali comes into the line. That's a lovely angle by him. Ongaro is there as well. Good Italian pressure and equally good Ireland defence at this stage. Gleeson is up on his feet, but he's not looking too steady. In the meantime, here comes Scott Palmer. Oh, first Irish tackle was missed. Bortolami, oh, he's knocked it forward. Dennis Dallan thought he was in for his 6th, 7th international try. Here comes Jordan Murphy. How close was that? Well, heartbreaking stuff for the Italians, who have battled away. And the referee has said there's no advantage from that knock forward, and they'll bring them back for the scrum to Ireland. Well, your heart has to go out to them.
Well, they did deserve a score there. Really looked on for Italy. They had Ireland's defence very, very stretched, and that, for an international rugby player, that's really a penalty without the goalie, to be honest. That really should have stuck. One eye on the defender, one eye on the line, and forgot to catch the ball. Bortolami throws what is a good pass, but he's just not secured the ball before he's looked to see where the line is.
Well, there's a stoppage now for a bit of attention to an Irish player. I think it's Keith Gleeson, who's took a bit of a hit. He put in 2 hard tackles and didn't quite get his timing right, and he's come off second best. And Brad O'Driscoll seems to be in the wars ever so slightly, and this could mean a couple of Irish replacements. Now, Gleeson is getting up very gingerly. He'll certainly not want to come off, but I think he may well be told to come off. And O'Driscoll is not looking all that terribly smart either. Gleeson has said, go away, I'm staying on. Well, if a player says that, it's very difficult, as you well know, to actually get him off. But this is a little bit more worrying too for Brian O'Driscoll.
Yeah, so 2 key defenders, because Gleeson's been outstanding today. You could just see him damaging himself in one tackle. He wasn't happy, but threw himself into another, which is fairly typical of back row players. No brains at all, but he's come off second best as well. And whether that's the right thing or not for him to stay on, the next few minutes will tell. And Will Sullivan will have a close look at him and see whether he needs to be pulled off, because he can't afford to carry defenders against this side playing into this breeze.
And especially with a very important Triple Crown game to come. Anthony Foley picks up meantime and drives from an Irish scrum which was being slewed around a little bit. So O'Driscoll and Gleeson still there, and O'Gara into that dreadful wind, and it's becoming more and more overcast, and the Dublin sky is just about to open up.
Yes, and Keith Gleeson took another couple of seconds just to collect himself as well. He's not really shaken off that knock yet. Looks like a shoulder injury, which you really don't want to be carrying.
No, he's only got a week to recover. Italy just about got it, no more. Palmer tidied it in, but they've got a nice piece of momentum going, the Italian forwards, looking to score their first points of this game. Griffin, De Marigny had a couple of runners coming very close to him. One of them was Dallan, who very nearly got the try. Still there for Italy, just 5 metres from the Irish line. Palmer has to fill in at scrum half. He's got Stoica with him. Here goes Palmer. His opposite number, Anthony Foley, makes the tackle. Desperately close now to the Irish line. O'Driscoll goes to the other side to try to plug a gap. Here goes De Rossi, the skipper, one captain against the other. Griffin, Ongaro, the hooker. Good solid Irish defence, but for how much longer can they hold out? Have they stolen that one? They might just have. No, the Italians have still got it. Delapé's in there. Chichiro's helping. Terrific tackle by Malcolm O'Kelly. Griffin, Stoica, Massey, that looked forward. Right there was referee Kelvin Deeker. Andrea Massey thought he was in, but no advantage had come to the Italians, and they went back for the first infringement, which has gone against Ireland at the ruck, which is 5 metres from the line, and that's going to be an Italian penalty. So what is Andrea De Rossi going to decide to do? And I think he's going to go for the scrum. And again, Keith Gleeson is down injured, and he may well have to come off the field. Ireland have got Victor Costello on the bench, who can probably come on and play number 8. And Gleeson, that shoulder of his, it's his right arm, it looks as if it's not in very good shape, and I hope there's nothing broken there. And this may well have been the initial problem. There's a little flat ball to Massey, and Gleeson went in very low, and I think that trailing right arm of his just caught the Italian replacement's knee. So Gleeson is coming off. Well, he's given the thumbs up, so it doesn't look too bad. And on comes the man who represented Ireland in the 1992 Barcelona Olympic Games in the shot put. Victor Costello is coming on to win his 48th cap and his 5th against the Italians. This is a big scrum, and Costello will help. That's untidy. Simon Easterby's going to have to go to play open side.
Yes, good scrum, Tom. Another one, thank you.
And Costello, I think, will actually probably play number 6.
Yes, Victor Costello's just packed down at number 6, leaving the, if you like, the specialist number 8 skills to Anthony Foley. But Ireland really will want to hold out here. Be a huge psychological advantage if they can just relieve this pressure. But it's an Italian ball.
Engage!
Into the final quarter now of this game. 19-0 still to Ireland, but under fierce pressure. There's the pick-up by the Italians from the scrummage. They made a mess of that. Well, not too cultured by Costello. He tried to hack that through. An advantage has come to Ireland, and the heavens are starting to open, and we, even in our comedy box, are getting ourselves soaked.
Well, Keith Wood did say it at the end of it. It's going to be very, very difficult for Italy to make what was going to be a huge territorial advantage into points, because we saw how Ireland struggled in the first half, and it must be said, it puts Ireland's first half performance maybe into perspective, and as things get even more inclement and worse, it's only going to tick things in Ireland's favour, if you like, because make it even more difficult to handle the ball, and it is Italy that are going to have to play the rugby here.
Well, Italy still have to score, and they need at least a couple of tries. That's a penalty against the Italian loosehead prop, and I think that call was made on the far side by Rob Dixon. But away comes Anthony Foley. Good surging run by the man who became the first Munsterman to play 50 games in the Heineken Cup. O'Driscoll got carted, but he's done well. Dempsey, Murphy, clever kick by him that bounced handily for Gonzalo Canale. Great tackle by Gordon Darcy. Good work though by Nicola Mazzucato for Italy. Griffin, Dallan, that's either a placement. O'Gara had just drifted back into a defensive position, and he took his time, and as he found his touch, well, no angle at all. That's a very good kick by O'Gara. It's going to be an Italian throw, but Italy have to win possession, and they've got to keep going, and time is not on their side. So 19-0 to Ireland, and there's an Italian player down injured just inside the Italian half, and it's Gonzalo Canale, the fullback. Looks like a little bit of cramp. In the meantime, it's an Italian line-out. That's gone loose. Well pulled in by Anthony Foley. Here comes Costello, what a big bruising fellow he is. Very explosive. O'Driscoll, nice little switch. O'Gara, Canale, that sat up nicely for him. He's got Mazzucato with him. He tries to straighten. Good tackle by O'Callaghan, who nailed him. Still there for Italy. There will be advantage, yep, penalty. Taken quickly by Griffin this scrum half. Oh, he's got away from the first tackler. Well, now that was a little bit of an interesting tackle. I think somebody might well be spoken to for that one. Well, it's all gone a little bit nasty for the first time, and perhaps understandably, and tempers have just boiled over a little bit. Castro Giovanni's getting himself involved with Victor Costello.
Yeah, the tackle from Brian O'Driscoll was a little bit high. It wasn't so much arm as pretty much everything at Paul Griffin. Yeah, he shouldered on. That was high, and if the referee hasn't seen it, I'm very, very surprised.
Well, Chris White has come in from the near touchline, and we'll have a word now. Is Ireland's skipper going to get himself binned? He certainly is. So he scored a try to reclaim his Irish record, and Brian O'Driscoll has got himself a yellow card, and that's going to keep him out, well, for the next 10 minutes, and he'll come back with just about 5 minutes remaining. So Ireland will have to do a little bit of reshuffling. And O'Driscoll, who got his shoulder hurt, and that mightn't be a bad thing. He grins about that. I don't think there was any serious malice or well, real intent to do any damage, but he's gone off to rapturous applause.
Yeah, it was more careless than anything else. You can see Griffin's running upright. It was just a very, very upright tackle. I guess his major concern was he wanted to take man on ball and not let Griffin get the ball away in the tackle, but just a little bit upright. He's paid the ultimate price.
Reggie Corrigan has gone off the field and Marcus Horan has come on, but the Italians win their own line out, and that's inside Ireland's 22. Italy still looking for the first points of what has turned out to be an horrifically awful afternoon here at Lansdowne Road in terms of the weather. Stoica has a wee juggle, tries to offload to Mazzucato, who'd come in from the right wing. Italy warming up another replacement, I can tell you. This is Castro Giovanni. Delape, good tackle by Shane Horgan. Griffin again, he's let that go. Play on, says the referee. No advantage to Ireland. Good Irish defence.
It is, but you can see Italy really struggling with the ball in hand, and that little smashing of rain hasn't helped things either. The difficulty that Ireland had in the first half with moving the ball with the wind behind them is causing Italy even more problems at the moment.
Well, we have about 15 minutes remaining, and Mirko Bergamasco, the younger of the two Bergamasco boys, is coming on, and Gonzalo Canali is going off. He was struggling a little bit, I think, with cramp. So Bergamasco, who's also played on the wing, will come on to play fullback in place of Canali. And remember, Ireland down to 14 men. Gervin Dempsey's taken up the position at inside centre. Away goes Victor Costello. That's good work by him. Stringer. O'Gara will keep it simple. Hasn't made a lot of ground, but he's found his touch well. He knew how bad that wind was when it was in his back in the first half, and he's finding out just how bad it is now that it's in his face.
Yes, and it's so difficult to win your own throws. At least he's got a 50% chance of getting the ball back again, which didn't come off that time.
Penalty against Ireland for interfering with the jumper taken quickly by the Italians. This is Stoica. Easterby and Foley with the twin tackles. Griffin digs it out. De Marigny, lovely inside pass. Again, Italy in the centre of the park. Options to left and right. Nazi had to wait for that ball to float into him. John Hayes was the man who put in the tackle. Penalty against Ireland. Simon Easterby penalised. Were you Andrea De Rossi, and you've captained Ireland from blindside flank position, Mr. Matthews? Is there a kick at goal to get the points, or do they go for more?
Well, I think they're going to have to take the 3 points here. It's a no-brainer really, in that it's a very, very kickable position, even with the wind behind it. The way it's blowing at the moment, it's blowing straight down the pitch. He should just slot this over, and then simple enough to get back into Irish territory again.
So Roland de Marigny puts it right between the Irish posts, and Italy have got their first points of the afternoon. We have played just over 27 minutes in this second half. It's now Ireland 19 and the Italians 3.
Ireland won't be too displeased with that. It does give them a chance to at least get back into the Italian half. They've got a reasonable chance of getting the ball back from the kickoff. One thing that Roland O'Gara will be able to do is float this one high on the breeze. Difficulty will be making sure it goes the requisite 10 metres.
John Kerwin's got a little bit of something to smile about, though not an awful lot. That's a wonderful restart kick by O'Gara. Plenty of Irishmen underneath it. That's gone loose. O'Gara gathers. Clever change of mind. Marcus Horan on the Irish squad for the first time in this championship season. Costello again. Commits 3 or 4 Italians. O'Gara kept it low. Bergamasco. Now, did he touch that? If it does, that could be an Irish. Oh, he's made a mess of that. That's going to be a 22. Well, that was touch and go, wasn't it?
Suspicion like a knock on there, Jim, but he got away with it. Referee probably wasn't ideally placed. We just see that again. It wasn't maybe the best of kicks from Roland O'Gara. Went very, very deep, and it gave. But Bergamasco really should have been able to cope with that. Ball goes.
Hard call. In the meantime, Ireland just nudged the ball forward, I think, from the restart. It's going to be an Italian scrummage. Coming up to 28 minutes gone, and we've got 12 minutes or so to go. Ireland leading this game by 19 points to 3. A couple of Irish replacements there, Victor Costello and Marcus Horan. Conor Driscoll still off the pitch, remember, sin binned.
Registration block here first.
Well, this win really has made it a very difficult game for both sides. And Ireland, if they were looking for big points with a view to maybe snatching the championship, if France fall at the final hurdle, will find it difficult now to make up some points against Scotland, I'm quite sure. Griffin. It was Christian Stoica standing in the outside half position. He's given that a fair old thump, but it's going to be an Irish line-out. Born in Romania, Christian Stoica been around for such a long time. Plays his club rugby now in France with Montpellier. Well, it's been another productive afternoon out of touch for the Irish.
Yeah, both sides really struggling, because I think the averages for both sides would have been around about 80% for Italy and about 95% for Ireland, so both of them are suffering a little bit in the breeze.
Stringer, O'Gara, that was well tidied up by Shane Byrne. A delicious little kick by O'Gara, well taken though by Mazzucato. Bergamasco. Shane Horgan with the tackle. Bergamasco though has made decent ground. A little patch of sunlight now, will this illuminate the Italians? Mourinho has a glance. Could have given that a little bit more. Good take by Jordan Murphy, of whom we've seen so little. Costello again. That's good, sensible Irish tactics. They've got to keep this as tight as they can, and they've got to put into the scrummage.
Well, possession is also important now for both sides. Ireland, just the longer they can spend on the ball, the more frustrated Italy are going to become, because Italy are really having to chase this.
Once again, there's a bit of a stoppage, and it looks as if Gordon Darcy's got a bit of a knock, and Victor Costello, I think, is just getting a bit of facial attention. Might even just be a little nick there, and they'll cover that up with a bit of the old Vaseline. It's a nasty graze Victor Costello has got. He's made a bit of an impact since he came on. This sort of conditions were ideally suited to him, with one of the prerequisites really picking up and driving from close range. But Darcy is still under a little bit of pressure. Don't see Kevin Maggs warming up at this stage. Well, he's down below us with his tracksuit still on, but he's standing up. I think Darcy's going to be okay, but remember, O'Driscoll is already off the field, but he should be back on within the next 5 minutes. Stringer.
I can't see from here. You stay straight. You stay in the sun.
Referee asking both front rows to stay absolutely straight until the ball is put in. They've got to stay straight after that as well. Good Irish scrum. Referee in the way. Well taken by O'Gara. Clever little kick. Darcy with a bit of a burst. Bergamasco got to him first. The referee's apologised in a situation like that. Surely he should actually bring them back into the scrummage again, but there you go.
Well, I guess he felt if possession had been turned over directly from his presence there, he would have done that, but play continued, albeit that it did disadvantage Ireland.
10 minutes to go. Donnacha O'Callaghan takes it cleverly for Ireland. Costello is in at the back of that. He may try to pick up and drive off to open field. The Italians have pushed Ireland dangerously close to this near touchline. Ireland have moved back in field. Now they'll try to go forward. Shane Byrne, but well held by Castro Giovanni. It's all a bit slow. O'Gara has to thump it. Mazzucato tries to create a bit of space wide. That's a big wide pass. This is Matsi, the replacement. Shane Horgan is there with him. Little chip by him. Dempsey had come up pretty flat. Down he goes. Bergamasco's there. Dempsey's let that go. Mazzucato was in quickly for the Italians. Good pressure by Italy. Penalty against Italy though. That was a bit unfortunate for the Italians. They were in a very good position there, and they gave away the penalty, which they probably didn't have to.
Well, it was very lucky for Gordon Dempsey in particular just to get away with that. He went down. What he needed to do was just keep out in his body and immediately get onto his feet again, but seemed to find it very difficult to just secure the ball, and Italy giving away the penalty, allowing Roanoke to clear the lines again. Gives the line to Italy just about 10 metres outside 22.
Well, there's Brian O'Driscoll, Ireland's skipper, coming back on. Had a nice 10-minute rest for a rather unfortunate tackle. No deliberate intent, I don't think, in it, but he'll be back on within the next minute or so. Again, that's good possession by the Irish pack, and they're standing up well to this much vaunted Italian 8. Stringer, O'Gara, Shane Horgan. Good strong run, and he's really clattered de Marigny, who's a little bit the worse for wear. Ireland trying to set this one up if they can. Oh, they've lost it. Gone forward from an Italian hand again. Referee playing advantage. Griffin's away, but he's going to have to come back. It's the most extraordinary set of side whiskers. He looks like an extra from that top band Slade of many years ago, before your time.
Way before my time, but unfortunately not.
Brian O'Driscoll coming back onto the field to fairly rapturous and appreciative applause. We have got about 7.5 minutes of normal time remaining. Ireland leading 19 points to 3 here at Lansdowne Road. Crucial score coming just after half-time when Shane Horgan went over at the Italian post, building on the 2 first-half tries by Malcolm O'Kelly and by Brian O'Driscoll. Good Irish scrummage. Eddie O'Sullivan will be pretty pleased with that. Stringer under a wee bit of pressure, gets caught by Griffin. Shane Horgan has to go in. O'Gara does very well indeed. That wind is dreadful over on that east stand side. O'Gara still tantalisingly 2 points short of the 400-point mark in international rugby. That, I'm sure, will come. Ongaro. And very nearly stole that. And it's going to be an Irish throw. They put the Italian jumpers at the front under a fair bit of pressure. It is absolutely chucking it down here, and that wind has really made a nonsense of the game, and a lottery in particular of the line out. And both sides deserve a lot of credit for the accuracy of the throwing and the efficiency of the jumping. Wonderful take by Easterby. Great hoist at the back as well. Shane Byrne has got it tucked in there, and he'll keep it. Nice Stringer, O'Gara, back on as O'Driscoll. That's nicely done. Dempsey, they want to give it to Murphy. This is what they've come to see. Christian Stoica has got him. Great clearing by Ireland. Good work by O'Gara. Easterby again. Wonderful tackle by De Rossi. Play on, says the referee. Advantage to the Italians. They've got men out there if they can shift this. This is Griffin. Palmer was with them. Unfortunately for Paul Griffin, all he had was a couple of back row forwards there. Still there for Italy. Just rumbling closer to the Irish 22. Griffin. Stoica, Matzi ran a good angle. Legal tackle this time by O'Driscoll. De Marigny back inside to Palmer, who's knocked it forward. Referee seems to be giving advantage to the Italians. Maybe Ireland knocked that one forward. Delape picks it up. Bergamasco was in there. The Italians don't have a full back if Ireland could win this ball, and they have done.
Came off green over here before, nothing came to blue.
They're going to take the initial knock forward. I think John Hayes was the Irishman whose hand put it to the ground, and that's going to be a scrummage to the Italians. A little glance at the watch, and if we're in harmony, then Mr. Dicker will decide that there's only 5 minutes remaining. Well, nastily collapsed scrum. Ireland get the free kick given against them, taken quickly by Palmer, who ran into 3 of his blue-shirted colleagues. Well stolen by Stringer. Needs some help. He's got it from O'Gara. This could be interesting. Lovely dummy by O'Gara. Here goes Murphy. A little bit of hesitancy, but he's made good inroads into the middle of the park. Stringer, this is quicker ball. Wonderful take by Easterby. Cleverly read by O'Gara. This is better from Ireland. Looking for a final flourish, Murphy. Dempsey had to stretch, but he did well. Still there for the Irish. The crowd don't like that decision. They thought it was Italy who knocked the ball forward, but Kelvin Dicker was right on the spot, and an Irish hand, I think, has put the ball to ground. That's a rare incursion into Italian territory.
But it was very difficult to see where the referee had picked that one up from. That was, again, it was lovely hands from Ronan O'Gara. His distribution has really been a feature of his play this year.
Good Irish scrum in the Italian put in, and that's a good secondary shunt, but the referee's not happy with it. says that John Hayes was pulling and Reggie Corey or Marcus Horan was pushing illegally.
Well, I don't know if the referee really knows. And there's the RBS man of the match. Really difficult one to call today. It's been as much of a lottery, I guess, as the win. But Anthony Foley has made himself available in attack, done the hard yards. He's defended supremely as well. So never less than 100% from this man.
Well, he's been just about ever present in the Irish side since he had a second coming, having been capped first against England away back in 1995. A very barren period until he came back into the side some 4 seasons ago. Kevin Maggs is coming on the field. Gordon Darcy is going off. So big day for Kevin Maggs, coming on to win his 62nd cap. Gordon Darcy, who really has had a terrific return to international rugby. Kevin Maggs will be really relishing this. He hasn't stopped smiling since the Twickenham game a couple of weeks ago, since he played his club rugby in Bath, and I suspect he rubbed a few noses in it when he got back down to Bath. So a little bit of a confab by the Italians as to what they're going to do. That's Andrea Cicero. He's got his leg very heavily bandaged, so he may well have strained a calf muscle. Seems to be a little bit of confusion down there. The Italians, I think, are making a substitution. And Salvatore Perugini is coming on, the prop forward. And Lo Cicero has gone off. So Perugini's on for Italy. Maggs is on for Ireland. Ireland also warming up their halfbacks, Guy Easterby and David Humphries. So David Humphries poised to come in for his 62nd cap. Ongaro, that didn't go 5 metres. Referees let that go. That's extraordinary. That didn't go 5 metres.
No, I think Deacon today has been a little bit inconsistent. But ultimately Ireland do win. I think what was deserved, the possession, gives them a scrum just about their own 22. It gives them the opportunity to maybe bring on a couple of substitutions. Guy Easterby, David Humphries coming on.
Well, this is the sort of part of the game where commentators really hate, because it's really the old numbers game. Simon Facconi has come on to win his first cap for the Italians. Roberto Mandelli has come on to win his first cap for the Italians. And Guy Easterby and David Humphries have come on. This is Easterby, this is Humphrey. That's a good pass by Humphries. O'Driscoll. It'll offload to Gervin Dempsey. Still there for Ireland. Easterby the elder. This is O'Callaghan. Lovely hands by Donnacha O'Callaghan. Man of the match, Anthony Foley, goes in. Costello has set it up for Ireland. That's good work by the replacement back row forward. Italy trying to disrupt. Good work by Malcolm O'Kelly. Horns in there too. There's an Italian hand in there, but the referee has given the penalty against the Irish. Taken quickly by De Rossi, the skipper. John Hayes with the tackle. Piccone, Perugini. Piccone again. De Marigny. Dallan. Stoica. Good tackle by Malcolm O'Kelly and Hayes. Piccone. De Marigny has to stretch. This is Stoica. Mazzucato. Well shepherded. Good tackle by Easterby. Bergamasco. But a minute and a half to go. De Marigny. Mazzi. Ongaro is there as well, and Perugini, but he can't get the ball away. That was Marcus Horan with the tackle for Ireland. Still there for Italy. Bit of a chance here. That was a poor pass. Still there for the Italians, but time is running out. We're just about into the final minute. This is Christian Stoica. Victor Costello wraps him up with a bear-like hug. Piccone, Perugini, Shane Byrne and Malcolm O'Kelly bring him down. Piccone, De Marigny, Bergamasco's let that go. Advantage to Ireland. Guy Easterby. Surely Piccone offside.
Not a penalty. Not a penalty.
Well, John Kerwin will be pretty disappointed. I think once everybody saw the conditions, they knew it wasn't going to be anywhere near a classic game of rugby, and well, the Italians have struggled as much with the elements as they have with this Irish team.
Yes, it was looking a little bit shaky at half-time, 12-0. You felt that Italy should have good reason to be very optimistic coming into the second half of that win behind it, but just were unable to tame it.
Well, Eddie O'Sullivan has brought on just about every replacement. Frankie Sheehan's come on, Gary Longwell has come on, off go O'Callaghan and Byrne. It's another cap for those fellas, but I mean, you've got to say what value is there, but however, that's the system. So Frankie Sheehan has come on, Gary Longwell. He's played more games for his native Ulster than anybody else. Sheehan with his first throw. Didn't get it right. Difficult in those conditions, and it was a little bit ambitious going as long as that. So we have just a matter of a few seconds to go. Referee Kelvin Dicker has had a good look at his watch. This will probably be the last set play. And the Italians, well, it's a big ask of them to actually try to do something from here. They'll certainly try to run it, because there's no point in them putting it into touch. Ireland tried to slew them round. Piccone, De Marigny, the mismove, Mazzi, Stoica comes round on the loop, Bergamasco, he's got Dallan outside him, good reading of the situation by Brian O'Driscoll. Handed up nice and flat, good work by Ireland. It's maybe not finished yet. Terrific rumbling run by the Irish forwards. It came back awkwardly, still there for Ireland, the ball is still in play. Referee's waiting for advantage, and I don't think there's going to be any more play. He said that's not forward, and that looks as if the game is over, and it's going to be a big disappointment. Eddie O'Sullivan, I think, will be disappointed by the conditions, but there was nothing he could do about it. But the important thing from an Irish point of view is that they've won this game.
Yes, and more happy now than he would have been at half-time, I could venture. Very difficult conditions, playing against a tricky Italian side. It wasn't to be. They were never going to rack up the tries in those conditions, and at the end of the day, the gap in class was there, and that Ireland were able to cope with it. They scored their 3 tries. Italy struggled. Went to Ireland, job done, and bring on Scotland.
Yeah, it wasn't a classic by any means. The weather put paid to that long before kick-off, but Ireland with 3 tries, 2 in the first half, 1 in the second. A solitary Italian penalty means that Ireland have won this game here at Lansdowne Road by 19 points to 3.
Well, Keith, it was cold, wet and ugly.
It was, and I think Ireland will be very happy at the end of it. It's impossible to play today. It was, as I said, a joke of a day because the wind made a farce of it. So Ireland will be very, very happy at the end.
They had a lot of work to do out there to keep the Italians out for a while, but 19-3, people came here with a lot of expectation, expecting a bigger score, but as you said, not a bad result at the end of the day.
No, you have to be absolutely happy with it. And there's a man there hiding in behind you.
I'll just bring him in actually at the moment, because Anthony Foley, how are you? A tough day out there for you.
Incredible conditions to play in, game of 2 halves, and the old cliches come in, but we're happy to get the win and move on to next week now.
Well, he had a good performance there today, so good actually. You're the RBS man of the match, which your old teammate Keith would present to you.
Kiddaloo man.
Cheers, Keith.
There you go, well done.
Cheers. Talk to you guys.
Well, he seems reasonably happy with that, because he'll need that after that game.
Yeah, well, he is happy. Strangely, the bottle is actually warmer than, it's warming up my hands with a cold bottle of champagne. It is bad. I mean, they have to be very happy. I think Italy played very well. They played an awful lot of spoiling rugby, and in doing so made it very difficult for Ireland to play. Ultimately, end of it, they've got the win that they want. It's probably we've probably had the chance of the championship blown away on a windy day in Dublin.
Yeah, 19-3 probably won't do it. I know we get a chance to look at the points difference now in a few minutes, but we really need to get a big score today, didn't we?
Well, we did. I mean, the view is to try and get as many points as possible.
Okay, I'll grab this man in, Brian O'Driscoll. Well done, Irish captain. Well, that was a tough old game for you out there. The weather really wasn't good, was it?
People have no idea. I think you're standing out here now. It's nice and sheltered in there for you, but when you're out here in the ball, trying to throw the ball around, it's not conducive to attractive rugby.
You have to be very happy with what happened on the 16-point win.
Absolutely, no, we are. That first half, just hanging on to the ball was a complete lottery at times, and we knew defensively we had to be strong in the second half, and we're glad to have kept them out.
Brian, it was tough out there for you, and obviously you did try to spin it in the first half, but it wasn't really a good idea in this weather, was it?
It just wasn't happening for us all week. Our game plan had been to throw it wide to wide to wide, and you come out and you plan for something that you just can't do. So I thought, plan B worked well. We hammered away at them, and our forwards again did extremely well. They did a lot of hard yards.
Of course, an incident there for yourself, a yellow card for, I think they saw it as a high tackle, but it wasn't too high. We might be able to have a look at it.
No, he's only a nickel fella, isn't he? So any bit that he ducks, you're always going to be in trouble. So I'll take it as that.
All right, well done, Brian. Thanks very much. So Keith, where does this leave Ireland, do you think?
I think it leaves in obviously a very, very good position to win the Triple Crown next weekend. The possibility of actually winning is the championship, none. But I think you have to say from the start of the second half, an excellent start to get a try in the first 10 minutes, which was brilliant.
And it was a good try too. A simple move, really, just setting it up and all the way out to Horgan. We'll probably be able to have a look at it now, but he did well.
Well, he did very, very well. I mean, the key aspect of it was a cutout pass, having had a cutout pass earlier on by O'Gara that went straight to ground. This time we get it straight out. Stoica comes out of the line. Horgan, hit a great angle, hit it straight in. Very good.
Clever bit of running by the big man, but of course the Italians as well had a few opportunities down here, and Dennis Delan will be kicking himself tonight.
It was very, very disappointing for them. They worked so hard to try and get in there time after time after time. The fact that their kicking game wasn't working, and then when they get the one chance to get over the line, I think he thought he'd scored the try before it actually happened. I mean, he thought he had it in his hands. He thought he had the glory of the try, and he will be kicking himself later on.
It was a good move as well, and really I think he was actually looking up at his man and looking at the try line and dreaming of the celebrations there. You're absolutely right.
It was on a plate for him.
Do you think that would have made much of a difference to the game?
I don't think it would have made much of a difference. I think Ireland were fairly well disciplined. I think they played well within the conditions, and they'll be happy with it. If Italy had scored another try, I don't think it made any difference.
Okay, let's look ahead to next weekend. Let's look ahead to the points difference. Let's look ahead what everyone has to do to try and wrap up this championship. And we can see the points difference there. Obviously England a difference of 57, Ireland 25. There's a lot of ground to be covered there. It would take a big win against Scotland and a very small win for England against France in the last.
Well, it would take a huge win, and there's also the games that are